Yeah, more than a half a foot of snow, maybe some ice is expected for the home of Penn State University. And a winter storm warning is in effect. It goes through tomorrow. Let's go to Mike Seidel. He is in State College, where it looks like, Mike, that snow has been really starting to pick up for you.
It has, and the roads are getting worse by the minute. They did pre-treat, but you can see here we've got a layer of compacted snow and ice here. And with the temperature now at 27, it's not going anywhere, despite that we have daylight. Remember, we're at really the lowest sun angle of the year as we head towards the first day of winter here in about 5 weeks. So very little help from the atmosphere. Speaking of the atmosphere and meteorology, Penn State known for its Department of Meteorology. And look at this gaggle of weather weenies that showed up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out today. Now, classes were canceled at 11 a.m. And so you've got the whole day off to play in the snow, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you plan on doing?
I have to work this afternoon still. The weather stops for no one, so.
You have to work, huh?
Yeah.
Anybody else going to play in the snow today?
I'm playing.
Yeah. Now, how many, I know what the answer is going to be, but I'll ask anyway. How many here just can't stand cold weather and snow? Yeah, nobody. Yeah, you don't really come to Penn State if you don't like winter, right?
Nope, it's cold here.
Cold and very cloudy with the Strato Q. Now, how many of you want to get into television? Me. Wow, 5 or 6, huh? You ready to head in front of the camera?
Oh, I don't know yet.
You're not
sure?
I
guess I have to be ready.
Well, you're just on TV there. Well, we appreciate everybody coming out here and enjoy the snowfall. What do you think? How many inches? You know, I mentioned earlier that the kids, we used to hang around the maps, the paper maps. This is 35, 40 years ago, but now everybody just looks at their phones, right? It's all on the phone. And you've got all the models, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's what's that?
Exactly.
What?
I said exactly instead of exactly.
Yeah, that's okay. So it is a whole different world with the phones, the smartphones, and all the models out there. What do you think? How many inches? 9 to 11? How much?
A foot to a foot and a half snow.
Wow, 12 to 18. Wow, this guy's going big. Well, the biggest snowfall here in November was about 17 inches, biggest storm. So we'll see how we do. Again, great to have you all out here, and good luck with your studies. Thank you. Math, physics, chemistry, calculus, and dynamics. That'll get you. Okay, let's go back to Alex, Jen in the studio. Always great to see up-and-coming meteorology students out in a snowstorm here in Happy Valley. And again, we're looking officially at about 8. We may overachieve. It's all a function of how much sleet and freezing rain we get here in State College.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Indeed, brings you back to the memories of school and how fun that can be, right? All right, let's talk about the
big mix of weather, but we want to get out into the storm right now.
Meteorologist Mike Seidel is joining us live now from State College, Pennsylvania. Mike, you've been in there with the students. Looks like you got a couple inches there already.
Yeah, we've got a little bit more than an inch. We'll take a measurement after the live shot. There's Beaver Stadium, home of the Nittany Lions, the Bryce Jordan Center, where the basketball team plays. None of this, the center was not here. I've been gone 35 years, and I got my master's degree in meteorology here under Dr. Greg Forbes. What a great guy. He's kind of retired now, but what a legend in meteorology. And speaking of future legends, look at this. We've got a gaggle of meteorology majors here at Penn State. Good afternoon. Has everybody pumped for the snowstorm?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anybody hate snow? No, that's it. We had a group on about an hour ago, and I couldn't find anybody. You don't come to Penn State if you don't like snow and cold weather. Now, how many of you are freshmen? Just about all of you, or some of you are older? What year are you in?
I'm a junior.
Junior. And what do you think about the storm as far as the number of inches? We got accumulation forecast last time, 8 to 18. What's the group saying here? What's the consensus?
I would go 8 to 12 for here.
8 to 12?
Yeah.
How about you guys, 8 to 12?
Yeah, probably 8 to 12.
Now, the big difference in meteorology now versus when I was here back in the early 1980s is you don't look at paper maps, do you? Are there any paper maps at the weather tower? No. Have you ever seen a paper map? Have you ever seen a paper map? Have you ever seen a rotary phone? So everything now is on your phone, right? You've got all your models, so you just sit there at the desks or at the table and look at your phones, right? Back in the day, we We just stand all at the maps and move the maps up and down. So what's the plan for the rest of today and tonight with classes canceled, or any of you heading home early, or are you going to stick it out for tomorrow?
Tracking the storm. We're going to be tracking the storm.
Is the tower buzzing? Is the weather tower buzzing? Now, that's on the other side of campus. Have you been up there? Anybody been up there today? Yeah. You been up there today?
Yeah, when it first started snowing, we all congregated by the windows, and we're watching the ridges disappear when the visibility went down.
Yeah, that's what we used to do, watch the snow come up the ridges.
Yeah, it was really exciting. So.
And look, we got a PSU meteor major on a bike. Come up here, sir. All right. This is great. What's your name?
Nick.
Nick. Congratulations. And you don't even have the fat snow tires on.
No, I didn't get them yet, unfortunately.
How was travel?
Pretty okay. Not too much traffic.
No? Well, that's good. Well, that's because school's closed. Now, were you at the weather tower last stop?
No, I just came from my dorm.
From your dorm. Okay, well, thanks for pedaling up here, and good luck getting back and trying not to fall off your bike. So all the students, thanks again for showing up. We appreciate it, and good luck in your studies here at Penn State. Your degree is well warranted. Everybody in the business knows how good a Penn State meteorology degree is to have. Okay, back to the Weather Channel in Atlanta. We've got, I believe, Mark Elliott at the controls. Mark Elliott there in the lab, and Mark is going to take a look at the radar and where the snow is headed. But Mark, one thing I've noticed is the fact that it's still snowing at Dulles Airport and west of BWI and Frederick, where Chris Warren is. It kind of tells me that maybe we will not change over as early as expected, or we may not change over at all, which would bump up those totals maybe a foot or more here in State College.
Yeah, you know, I think that cold air is firmly entrenched there along that line from central Pennsylvania right on down to the eastern side of the Appalachian chain. So you're absolutely right there. There's a little bit more cold air.
Mike Seidel back here at Penn State and State College, Pennsylvania, and this is what we call meteorology S+. Heavy snow now coming in. We've been watching the band for 4 or 5 hours coming up from the south, from Altoona, from near Harrisburg, and now we're snowing at least an inch an hour. And a gentleman who's been here for 40 years, I was lucky enough to work in the weather tower with Fred Gadomski, retired meteorologist, just recently retired.
That's why I'm here visiting you. I can do most anything now.
Yeah, now that you're retired. Fred's been here for a long time. You've been running the weather tower for years. You did the New York Times weather page. You did Weather World. And you've been looking at the storm. What strikes you about the storm that's different?
Well, I think what's so different and what's making it a challenge, particularly in some of the marginal areas, is the layers aloft are so close to freezing through a very deep part of the atmosphere that at any time a little nose could get to you and turn you to sleet or something like that. But it seems not to be happening in that wedge that's from northwest Virginia right up here into central PA. It's going to be, I think, a pretty snowy time for a lot of people.
Yeah, we talked last night when I got into town about the fact that you were concerned about sleet, because we've had some pretty good sleet storms here.
No, this is the sleet capital of the world, and so I immediately went to say, well, if there's a chance of sleet, it's going to sleet. All we've had is a few ice pellets right at the beginning. And since then, as you can see, there's so much upward vertical motion, such strong motion that it's keeping that layer below freezing.
Yeah, the dynamic cooling, as we say.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Okay, Fred, thanks for your insights. Go back and enjoy retirement.
I'm going to do that. Thanks.
Okay, Fred Gadomski. Everybody at Penn State who's been through the department since the late 70s knows Fred. Mark Elliott, he knows what he's talking about, trust me. And he's right. You know, all it takes is a little nose of warmer air, and then you go to sleet or freezing rain. But so far here in Happy Valley, it's all snow, and that could mean that we overachieve more than, say, 10 or 12 inches.
Yeah, that warm air aloft that is doing some of that changeover is near D.C., it's near Baltimore, it's near Philadelphia, but it's not yet to Harrisburg. It's certainly not yet to State College. So.
Well, we want to get you out into the storm right now.
That's right. Meteorologist Mike Seidel joins us from State College, Pennsylvania, home to Penn State University. And Mike, I noticed the snow blowing quite a bit there. Can you talk about the winds?
Yeah, the wind has picked up a little bit. It doesn't take much for this powdery snow, running about 10 to 12 miles an hour. We're not expecting wind to be a big issue, but look at the visibility. Beaver Stadium is out there somewhere. We're not even a block away, and we've lost contact, at least visually, with Beaver Stadium. We haven't lost contact with Fred Gadomski. Fred just retired from the Penn State Department of Meteorology, 40 years on campus. You've been through a lot of snow. You ran the weather tower. He was actually my boss, if you can imagine that, 35 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
I know. It seems like back when we had paper maps.
Yeah.
I was asking the students about paper maps, and they didn't have any idea.
There's no such thing.
And rotary phones. Anyway, we want to talk a little bit about weather folklore, but it actually statistically works out when you have weather like this in November.
Exactly. There's a rhyme, and of course we love folklore here in the home state of Punxsutawney Phil. And it is the winter will remember what happens in November. The idea being, and you can look at this statistically in a lot of the northeastern part of the United States, you'll find that cold Novembers correlate pretty well with cold winters to come. Whereas if you're warm in November, it really takes the odds down of a cold winter. So this is an interesting thing we're having. It's a cold November and a snowy one.
Yeah, and I was here in November 1980, and it was 8.4 inches on the 17th and 18th. And I remember the early part of 81 was frigid.
Yeah. So once again, it's only a statistical relationship, and the atmosphere can do anything it wants.
Yeah.
But for those of us who like snow, it might be an interesting foreshadowing.
And let's talk about average snowfall here in State College.
Oh, it's about 45 inches. This is not a tremendously snowy place, but at the same time, we get a lot of little snowfalls during the winter, and there's often snow on the ground.
And one thing we miss out on here is that we're so far from the lake. We get the stratocumulus. It's cloudy, it seems like, every day here in the winter, but we don't get much in the way of lake effect.
Yeah, here at Penn State, it's strato-QU, and we get the strato-Q, and it's kind of frustrating because you don't get the really good snow squalls that we do northwestern Pennsylvania.
And you don't get the sunshine either.
No. It's not a good place if you have seasonal affective disorder.
No, I think one January I was here, they said we only had like 52 minutes of sunshine. I think that was an extreme number, but it was just really, really bad.
It is.
I mean, you have to love winter to live up here.
It's gray and it's cold, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, with this snowfall, it's so powdery for this time of the year, 27 degrees. So we were talking about the amount of moisture available. Altoona's picked up at least a half an inch of liquid.
Yes.
Through 1 o'clock.
That's right. And so it's interesting to, we thought that the ratios on this storm might be greater than 10 to 1 or, 8 to 1 or 9 to 1. But it looks like we're going to do at least a 10 or 12 to 1. So it could be a really hammering snowfall in parts of central Pennsylvania.
And Fred, one of the students over here, this gentleman right here, earlier we had him on camera.
The guy in the red.
Yeah, the guy. What's your name? Colby. And we asked the whole group how much snow was going to fall, and this guy was on the upper end. How much did you say?
I said 12 to 18.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Well,
there are no prizes.
Yeah.
You won't walk away with the parting gift, but we'll see how that shakes out. A foot is not out of the question.
Yeah, I think we'll get more than that, actually. But
okay.
I think so. I think so.
And everybody laughs.
They don't think so, but I do.
Okay, well, this guy's the man?
Yeah, I guess.
Best meteorologist in the country.
Wow. Can you agree with that, Fred?
Well, I don't count my forecast till they hatch, but, it's as good a shot as any.
Okay.
At least he's willing to stand up and say it.
Okay, well, that's good. You're willing to stand up and say it, or at least this gentleman back here would. Mark, you never can have too many meteorologists in one live shot. And this could be almost a record, along with the earlier shots here on the campus of Penn State and the Department of Meteorology.
It may be. I can also see who's coming for both our jobs there. If he's already the best meteorologist in the country, we both got to watch out, Mike.
Yes, indeed. Well, I've only got I'm near the end of my run, but you better watch out.
I hope I have a couple years left, we'll put it that way. In any case, we are still watching that storm making its way kind of through the Midwest.